Buongiorno di nuovo, guten Tag, herzlich
Good morning
willkommen.
once
Es freut
again.
mich sehr,
Welcome.
dass
I'm
Sie alle
very
hier
happy
sind und es freut mich
for
sehr, dass ich heute
you
mit Ihnen
all
hier
to be
im
here.
Luma
I'm
Westbau
very happy to be
sein
here at the
darf.
Luma
Es freut mich
Festival.
dann natürlich auch riesig, in der Piazza auf der Bühne zu sein, weil da werde ich dann auch die Filme
And
präsentieren, nicht alleine
it's
natürlich.
also going to be a pleasure for me
Wir
to be on the
haben
piazza presenting the
jetzt
films, but
in der
not just by
nächsten Stunde
myself.
die Möglichkeit, das Programm
Over the
der
next
neuen
hour,
Auflage des Locarno
we
Film
will go
Festivals zu
through the
entdecken.
program
Wir haben auch
of
die
this edition
Deutschsprache
of the Locarno Film Festival.
ausgewählt, da die Mehrheit
We've
von euch
chosen German
deutschsprachig
today
ist.
because
But I would
most
like
of
to
you are
welcome
German
and thank
speakers.
everybody who's watching online and remind you, probably you noticed already that the whole press conference is going to be translated in English. E un caloroso benvenuto anche a tutti voi che state
And
guardando da
a very
chissà
warm
dove in
welcome to
streaming.
all of
La
you
conferenza
who
stampa
are
sarà tradotta
watching
tutta in
in
italiano, la
streaming.
facciamo in tedesco
The
perché la
press
maggior parte dei
conference
giornalisti
will
presenti in
be
sala
interpreted
parlano
into
tedesco.
Italian. We're doing it in
E a
German
questo
because
proposito
most of the journalists here
würde
speak
ich
German.
gerne Jonathan und
And
Laura danken, die
I
die
would
ganzen
like to
Übersetzungen
thank
online machen
Jonathan and
werden
Laura,
auf Englisch
who are
und auf
providing the
Italienisch.
interpretation today in English
Dann
and
darf ich
Italian.
jetzt schon mal anfangen und
Now
ich
I will
darf
begin,
unsere neue
and
Präsidentin
I would
vorstellen,
like to
Kunstexpertin,
introduce our new
Produzentin,
president,
aber noch vieles
art
mehr.
expert,
Wir haben sie schon ein
producer,
bisschen
but a lot
kennengelernt
more.
und wir werden sie
We've
sicher
already got to know
ein
each
bisschen
other
mehr
a bit,
kennenlernen.
and
Also
we will
danke
no doubt
vielmals,
get
dass
to
Sie
know
da
her
sind.
better.
Maya Hoffmann.
Now, thank you, Maya Hoffman, for being here.
Ja, guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Mich hat man gefragt, auf Englisch zu reden for the
I was
streaming.
asked to speak
So I hope this
in
is
English
okay
for
with
streaming
everyone
purposes.
here. Thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you. And also thank you. I would also like to welcome you at like you said, the Luma Westbau. And if I stress it now, it's because we are having an exhibition of Agnes Varda from the archive of Hans-Ulrich Obrist that is deposited at Luma in Arles, and I feel this is really a very good omen to speak and to see this work. If you have time later, maybe you can look at it for the one who are present here. Agnes Varda has always been a very big inspiration for us. So where I'm trying to touch base and find a way to speak with you for the first time because I find it important. I'm very excited with the program that Jonah will explain to us in detail. I only had every day I receive some messages from Jonah, and this is really a very good way of getting up to date with what's going on. But I didn't hear any of the details, so that's really what's exciting me. And the world of cinema is changing, and so we need to embrace it. And I consider my role is to embrace this world of cinema in change, and so little by little we will also be able to continue to put the cinematographers, the filmmakers in the center of what we do in Locarno. This is why I accepted this job. This is what I want to push. Yes, Locarno is an experience. The city by itself, the town, is as important as the variety of the program. I don't know if this works because I hear an echo, yeah. And so I look forward very much to come there again after 15 years of absence and really relive what the vibe of the town is at the same time this summer. So I'm very happy that I was able to come and be there, and I hope that many of you from the press will be there too. I know you will, but also that many of the filmmakers and the program is so diverse, and it's based on this laboratory that we've been discussing. I hope I can establish bridges between the art and the cinema. Artists want to make movies right now. This is one of the reasons that motivated me to join the Locarno team. The team is brilliant. They have a lot of imaginations, 30 seconds, 30 ideas a second. and it's exhausting, but it is really, really very uplifting too at the same time. Any question? You said you may feel like asking questions.
Why not? We are here for that. So, yes, I would like to know, as president, first time in Locarno, are you going to have a different kind of look on the festival? How is your look going to be?
No, I think the vision of the festival is in a very good place. I think that with the changes within other festivals and within what movie and movie making can give to us, we are in an extremely good position. First, we have the stability, but we also have the desire to go forward and to write new narratives. Jonah will get into the details for this, and I'm really, because from what I heard yesterday, it's really amazing to see the quantity of people who want to be shown in Locarno. And this is really very interesting because it's not only industry prone or big studio prone, it is really a celebration of independent cinema in all its variety. This is really what I would like to stress and to continue. Then we have also been talking with newcomers in terms of maybe sponsorship or partnership. And I'm very excited to say that we were able at the same time to keep the supporters that we know and that Raphael will speak about them. But we also were able to bring in some newcomers, and the discussions are going very well. So from my feeling, we are in a good place. I am the new one who needs to touch base, and I'm observing what's going on as well in the world and internationally, then within the festival. I hope that you will be nice with me and that we can continue to do this good work. I think that's good, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. We do have a good feeling, I think. So, als nächstes freue ich mich jetzt, gehen wir ein bisschen mehr in das detaillierte Programm. Also freue ich mich, unser künstlerischer Leiter auf die Bühne zu fragen, zu holen. Jonah Nazzaro, eccoti qua.
And now we will hear from Jonah Nazzaro. We'll take questions and answers afterwards. Good morning, Sandy. This is not our first language, so please excuse us if we make a few mistakes. Let's go and have a seat. So, Jonah, let's start with the overall objective. What is the festival? And what are you trying to get out of the festival? Well, of course, it's a very broad question. And I'll try and give you a few keywords by way of an answer. The festival in Locarno doesn't just last 11 days, it lasts 365 days. So once the last film has been shown in Locarno, the Locarno Film Festival begins in the rest of the world. The last edition of the festival was extremely successful. You can see on the slides some of the festivals where our films have been shown, discussed, and won awards. And that's just a small snapshot from different festivals. For example, one of the films from the last competition, Sweet Dreams, just last week featured on the top 10 list of Variety, and Sophie Sakou, Animal, that won a prize from the Greek branch. So this highlights the success of the festival. That's what we're trying to promote. The selection has been difficult. You work for 365 days on this, and there are many recurrent issues. And I think this has come up again this year. Well, it happened indirectly, as it were. We didn't focus on a specific theme or a guiding thread when selecting the films. Once we had the selection, then we took a step back. We zoomed zoomed out, and we looked at the overall landscape, and we saw that certain subjects keep coming up across the different sections. For example, the role of women in contemporary society, the whole discussion around artificial intelligence, discussions about the political borders in this new Europe, this multipolar world, etc. We didn't seek out these themes. We didn't say, okay, well, now we're going to have a festival focusing on certain themes. We looked at the films, then put them together and realized that they hold a dialogue with each other. And these are also subjects, which means that the festival is a catalyst for major dialogue, intensive exchanges. That is what motivates us mostly. For 11 days, Locarno is the center of the world, and I'm very proud about that. And those working with me are very proud of that. It's a small town in the south of Switzerland. It is the focus of the world. And the places that we reach out to, thanks to our work, extend across the world. It's not just a film festival. Locarno is values. It's a worldview, a position in our societies. That's what we're working on every day. And we think that you can't have a festival without values. We stand for independent films. We stand for artists and for a world which is open for everyone, without borders and without differences. Before we go into the details of the different sections, can we have a few names? The main competition has filmmakers like Wang Bing, Hong Sang-soo, Ben Rivers, and for Switzerland, the Sucher brothers, the Spatz im Kamin, and then Alain Din Slim, one of the most clever filmmakers today, and then the Radio Jude experimental film, etc. But we'll talk about those details a bit later. So, a lot of people in Switzerland. You mentioned Switzerland too. Is there a lot of Switzerland? Yes, we're convinced that filmmaking is going through a very interesting time now. That has been the case for some years in Switzerland. We'll have a lot more at Piazza Grande. We'll come back to that later. We have films in the main competition, in the short film section, and others. So it's a small Swiss landscape in this international landscape, speaking the same language. That's the interesting thing. And there is really a dialogue, and we're very excited about this, bringing all this together. You were saying that the films travel out from Little Locarno across the world, and we have lovely examples from recent years. Yes, for example, the success of the last edition, we featured in over 250 festivals, and our films were nominated for the Oscars, for the European Film Awards, and last year in Berlin, at the European Film Awards, we won the prize for the best short film. We're really a major component of today's film festival landscape and contemporary filmmaking. At the beginning, you talked about certain themes, such as the condition of women, equality between men and women. What's the situation in this edition? We have some figures. Maybe we can look at what this looks like this year. Well, the slides shows the numbers of the films that we received. I'm not going to read this, but this slide is particularly interesting because, unfortunately, the films which were submitted, well, not many of them were made by women. If we compare this to men, although we didn't go in with specific quotas, but in the main competition, we have 41.2% of women filmmakers, and filmmakers at the present 46.7%. So out of 17 films in the main competition, 7 are made by women, and in filmmakers at the present, 7 out of 15 are women directors. It's not, however, that we looked at the films according to whether they were made by men or women and discussing them accordingly. It's the films that we really wanted to select. I think it's interesting today that some of the best films, and last year some of the films which were most successful were films that were directed by women. And also, with regard to last year, the Locarno Film Festival was the only festival where 5 films out of 7 nominations were made by women. If you agree, I would like to move to the international competition. 17 films, many world premieres, and also well-established directors. Yes, I'm very happy to start with this. The established directors are very much anticipated. Ala Eddin Slim, the new film Agora, metaphysical science fiction political thriller. It sounds a bit complicated, but the film is fantastic. Then we have the new film from Ben Rivers, Boggenlock. It was very interesting because we had a constant exchange back and forth of Maya when we were deciding about Ben Rivers, and we really wanted to have a film from Ben Rivers. And from several sides, we worked on Ben, and we're really happy about that because we've got Boggenlock with us in Locarno. The Spatzenkamin I already mentioned. Then we've got Germany with Christoph Hochhäusler, a filmmaker who's at home in Locarno with his new film La Mort Viendra. Then an Italian film from Silvia Luzzi, Luca Bellino. The filmmakers from El Cratere, they were presented in Venice at the Critics Week, and then in different festivals in Tokyo won an award. That's the new film from those two. Then we have a great film. It's very long, so it just feels like 20 minutes though, made by Wang Bing, Youth Hard Times. It's the second part of the trilogy about young people in the so-called sweatshops in China. Then the new film from Hong Sang-soo, By the Stream, one of the filmmakers who's also at home in Locarno, and will be coming back to Locarno with his new film. Then the new film from Pierre Marais, Trans-Amazonia. If we look further now, we have some much anticipated works. A new film from Virgile Vernier. Yesterday afternoon, we were told that the production want to write the title in figures. It's 100,000 billions. It's going to be with 14 zeros. It's probably going to be the longest title out. Then the new film from Kudwin Ayub, and the new film from Marcol, Salve Maria, Drowning Dry, from Laurina Spareja. The filmmaker won a prize in Venice, a world showing in Locarno. Then from Gulshan Keltek, New Dawn Fades. It's a metaphysical ghost film about contemporary Turkey. I won't tell you more about that. No spoilers. The interesting and important thing in a festival is that new names are also discovered. And in this category, if we can call it that, I'd like to thank the selection committee for this because it's worked over a whole year. Really hard, worked really hard. The new names in the Locarno competition, they're all newcomers, as we say, women, all women. New film from Sala Bluvaita from Lithuania, Fogo da Vento from Marta Mateus. Peter Fabrice Aragno was the producer. Green Line, Sylvie Bayot from Lebanon. And then Sulla Terra Leggeri, Weightless, by Sara Ifgaya from Italy. 4 new names, new filmmakers, and I'm convinced that in the near future we'll be hearing a lot from them. They're all women, right? All those filmmakers. Yes, filmmakers of the present. We've got 15 films. Competition for first or second films from directors around the world. Geographically, what does it look like? Well, it was very interesting. From Eastern Europe, some very interesting things came up. We've got Crickets, It's Your Turn, from Olga Korotko, Kazakhstan, Lesson Learned from Hungary, Balint Shimla, Holy Electricity, Tato Kotishvili from Georgia, Joktau from Arwan Anatai, also from Kazakhstan, and When the Phone Rang, Iva Radivojevic from Serbia. I don't know if it's always the case, but there seem to be a lot of young actors, children too. Very interesting. A lot of young filmmakers are making films of this kind. These are probably the most exciting. Stig Danis has said a film is like a postcard from a friend. They say, I'm here, I'm doing well, how are you? These films are like postcards which have been sent to us. And for me, and for the selection committee, we really tried to keep our eyes as open as possible. The world is not just Europe or Northern Europe. The world has many places where so many interesting things are happening, sometimes very dramatic things. We just want to be there in this conversation, which we can maybe tell through the eyes of children. Let's move on to Latin America. Latin America has 2 very special films. Monogo Collective is an essayist, a documentary film, but also a comedy. It sounds a bit special, I know, but trust me, that's how it is. Then Olivia and the Clouds, that's an animated film where a woman transforms it into a plant. This comes from the Dominican Republic. Then we also have 3 films from Africa, from Cabo Verde, Hanami, Denise Fernandez, And listen to the voices from French Guyana. Côte d'Ivoire, Maxime Jean-Baptiste, Les Enfants Rouges, l'autre fille Achour from Tunisia. Some more young actors there. Now, the Western world. The first film from Willy Hans, who had his debut at Party de Domani, and now first long film, Fario Lucy Prost, Foul Evil Deeds, United Kingdom, Richard Hunter. It's a very black comedy, but incredibly funny. If you have a taste for black humor, mention Courtney Stevens from the United States. And finally, an essayist documentary film about artificial intelligence, the internet, Real from Adela Tulli. So that was that. Now let's move on to Piazza Grande, the most beautiful theater in the world. Every film is an experience. We'll be on the stage there together. And we have a lot of Switzerland and films from around the world. We're particularly happy about this. The new film from Simon Jacquemet, Electric Child, a world premiere on the Piazza. It's a science fiction film. And it deals with artificial intelligence once again, but not only that, it's a thriller. And you could say, what would a father do to save his son? It's a very exciting film. It takes place in Zurich and around, but I'm convinced it's going to be difficult to recognize Zurich in it. It's a very special kind of Zurich. Then Le Procès du Chien, Laetitia Doche. This had its world premiere in Cannes. This is our concluding film. Reinas from Claudia Reinecke. It was shown in Sundance. Then Sauvage, Claude Barras, or our Locarno Kids Award. We know that Locarno also has some glamour, some very interesting actors on the stage. At Piazza Grande, we'll have Berenice Bejo in Mexico 86, and the first film from Paz Vega, Rita. This will be presented as a world premiere. These are stories where women play the main role, the experience of the world from the point of view of a woman or young women and children. Iran is back on the piazza. Mohammad Rasulov, a leading representative of contemporary Iranian film, a very courageous director as well. For us, it's very important, this film. The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Mohammad Rasulov. It's very important that we're able to show this on Piazza Grande. Mohammad Rasulov managed to get to Cannes at the last minute. The film was ready, but maybe he would have liked to have changed a few things. And that's the version that we'll be showing on Piazza Grande. There are no major changes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes less. It's cut a little bit shorter. But just to tell you how closely linked Mr. Rasulov is linked to this film and how much we want to show it on the piazza. I think it's really one of the most courageous films in recent years. And I hope that Locarno will embrace Mr. Rasulov the same way it embraced Ken Loach last year. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, a very serious story.
ernst erzählen.
Serious
Ernsthafte Geschichten kann man auch ein
stories
bisschen auf eine lustigere
can
Weise
be told in
erzählen.
a serious way, but they can also be told in a less serious way. Yes, the science fiction comedy Alice Lowe, it's called Time Stalker. What would a woman do who is head over heels in love with a robber who is sentenced to death on a public square, and this woman tries to follow this man through decades and
Und zum Schluss haben
hundreds.
wir
It's
noch
a
ein
science fiction
bisschen
fantasy
World
comedy.
Cinema.
And now some world cinema. I would like to mention Maya again here because we were in Sundance together at Sundance, and we saw this film Gaucho Gaucho from Michael Dweck, Gregory Korshaw, and we said it's a perfect film for Piazza Grande, black and white, wonderful images. It was really a no-brainer. So we've got that film, and I think it's really an adventure film, a classical Western. It reminded me of the film of Boris Barnett. It was a wonderful discussion. I remember we were in Berlin and said, Maya, we've got the Gaucho Gaucho film. It's great. Then Shambhala from Min Bahadur Bam. This is an Open Door alumni. It's a program that we have in Locarno in cooperation with the Department for Development and Cooperation of the Swiss Department for Foreign Affairs. And it's one of the directors who has grown up in Locarno and is now shown throughout the world. So it highlights the results that we can obtain with open doors. We can admire that everywhere. The piazza with its wonderful huge screen, and it's going to be even more wonderful with these images. Then a bit later, Piazza Grande, we have more films. It was a film which was shown in South by Southwest. It's called So Torn. It's a thriller involving a little tailor in a small village in Switzerland who ends up in a situation with very dangerous people and can only they can only defend themselves with their needle and the thread. Maybe you've told too much about it already. No, no, no. There's no spoiler here. And then we have The Fall from Tarsem. Tarsem is one of the most well-known video clip directors. I just want to mention one, Losing My Religion from REM, who's worked with many other artists. Just want to mention one, Lady Gaga. And The Fall is his favorite film. He's produced a new version, restored it, and this will be projected as a world premiere on Piazza Grande. And if you remember Tarsim's films, here you can see what kind of thing is coming up. And also the classics. We have the 4K restoration of The Lady from Shanghai. That's a tribute for our Columbia retrospective. Then the 4K restoration of The Piano, Jane Campion, and a new 4K version of Une femme est une femme from Jean-Luc Godard. What do we have? No, I think we forgot something which is very important. Well, we left this for the end to make it more exciting. You didn't talk about the opening film, drum roll. The opening film is Le Déluge, the second film from Gianluca Giudici from Italy. It features Guillaume Canet and Melanie Laurent. It's about the last days of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. We've seen the film and we said this is a wonderful contemporary film, although it deals with historical figures from some time ago. And the film convinced us so much that we said that Guillaume Canet and Melanie Laurent would be awarded the Davide Campari Excellence Award. Wonderful. Very happy about that. Looking forward to it. We'll see other awards, so we'll go on with the program. Pardi domani, Lepers of the Future. Films which are for the national, international, and short film competition. 41 films, we won't mention them all. It's the fourth year we've had auteur short films in a section. We have 10 new films. I won't mention all of them, but we've got the new from Denis Coté, Jour avant la mort de Niki, the new film from Caroline Poggi and Jonathan Vinel, La fille qui explose, a new film from Valentin Merz, a very significant Swiss filmmaker, Les Bouches, and the new film from Kevin Jerome Everson, Practice, 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 and the new film from Maha Haj, Upshot. For the out of competition, a few highlights. Switzerland is also playing a major role here. 2 films expected. Yes, and out of competition, the new film from Samir has a very interesting title, La prodigiosa trasformazione della classe operaia in stranieri, the miraculous transformation of the working class into foreigners. It's a documentary, an essay documentary relating the story of foreign workers in Switzerland. And we have the new film from Marco Tullio Giordana, La vita accanto, The Life Apart. Marco Tullio Giordana is an Italian filmmaker whose story is very much linked to Locarno. And we have a special Bardo for that. Then 2 experimental films, Rado Juda. Yes, last year, Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World was shown as a world premiere in Locarno. It was a huge success. And then a few weeks later, he called me and said, I have a few new films. Would you like to watch them? And I said, yes, of course. 8 postcards from Utopia, made with Christian Ferenc-Platz, a film about advertising in Romanian television, and Sleep Number 2, a tribute to Sleep from Andy Warhol. Families are always interesting. They have wonderful stories and often are told in films, and we have a very special one here, the new film from Isid Lebesco, a special artistic family. In the main competition, families are a focus, and it's interesting how you can relate family stories. La Famille Chérie is a new film from Isid Lebesco, and it has a lot of French stars in it. It's a collective story, and we thought it was very interesting. For example, the whole conversation in France and elsewhere, also in the United States, about family. It's a theme also in the so-called thriller free worker from Alien Clark family, woman, and traditional
Es ist
mythology
schon ein
are
bisschen
all
eine
in there.
essentielle Pressekonferenz, das haben Sie vielleicht
This is
gemerkt. Wir wollen
it's
nicht zu lange
an
sein, aber doch
essential
wichtige
press
und
conference,
interessante
just
kleine
focusing on the key
Highlights geben.
things. You
Darum machen
probably
wir schon
noted.
weiter
We
mit
don't want
der
to tell you
Histoire du
everything, just giving
Cinéma.
you some
Auch hier
highlights.
haben
We'll
wir
continue with
ein paar
Histoire du
Highlights.
cinéma. A few highlights from here too. I just wanted to draw our colleagues from the press's attention to a few things. One of the highlights is the tribute to Stan Brakhage. He is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, experimental filmmaker. When we were in Los Angeles, together with Marcus Dufner, we met with people from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, and we saw that we shared this passion for Stan Brakhage. KJ Miller worked there, and we started working on this, and we presented this idea to Maya, and we said we could do this tribute to Stan Brakhage. It's going to be rather difficult. We can only show it on film, so it's a bit more complicated, but Maya said yes, Stan Brakhage is an excellent director and artist, and it's very important to show his films. So we had this program of 10 films from Stan Brakhage. They're all being shown on 16 millimeter, and the curator is Erika Balsam. She's one of the greatest scholars and connoisseurs of the work of Stan Brakhage. We had close contact with Marilyn Brakhage, who prepared the new copies, and it's something we're really proud about at the Locarno Film Festival. I have a very special relationship with his works. I mean, that's not important. No, it is important. What do you like about Stan Brakhage? I didn't know his work. I was in Pesaro in Italy many years ago. There was a special program on Stan Brakhage. I'd never seen his films, and I went in, and I had one of my most wonderful film experiences. These colors changing on the screen, these film dreams, and then I thought it was just amazing, this program. And well, there weren't any emails at the time, but I was told, well, could you write a short letter about this? And I wrote a little letter to Mr. Brakhage and said, your films really moved me terribly. And a few months later, I got a huge original postcard saying, dear Jonah, this is the magic we're trying to, etc. And I thought, wow, he really took the time to answer me. I was just a little nervous cinephile at the festival. And this experience with Stan Brakhage just spurred me on. And I'm really happy to be able to present his works to a new generation of filmmakers, particularly at a festival like Locarno. There are no digital copies of these films. You have to experience them on film in a theater. Passion, we love that. Thank you for that personal story, retrospective. For Locarno, it's very important. Not all festivals have a retrospective. Since the 1950s in Locarno, it's well loved. And this year, it's the 100th anniversary of Columbia Pictures, The Lady with the Torch. Yes, we already indicated that. I just want to say that the entire retrospective has been produced in conjunction with Sony Pictures Entertainment, and from the archive of Columbia, which is at Sony now, we got access to that archive. So Grover Crisp and Rita Belder, and they have new restorations of films which have never been shown before. And the retrospective will be accompanied by a book from Esen Koshbat. That's the curator. It has essays from film historians like Imogen Sarah Smith, Christopher Giroir, Pamela Hutchinson, Jonathan Rosenbaum, and many others. The book is published by Éditions de l'Œil. Again, it's a book which really will be part of the history of the festival. And there'll be more than 40 films shown. Open Doors screenings the last year for the focus on Latin America and the Caribbean with 17 films from countries where film is still developing. We already said that it's important to have this cooperation with the Department for Development and Cooperation from the Swiss Department for Foreign Affairs. And thanks to this program, we've discovered many filmmakers, and we've been fortunate enough and had the privilege to interact with other cultures and countries. As a festival, I think we've learned a lot more than we've been able to teach others. So conversation, dialogue is really a key part of our work. And thinking about the future, children or young people, films for an audience which would maybe like to see other films than the ones that adults see. We will have classics, but also some new films. Maybe you would like to mention just 3 from Locarno Kids screenings. I'll mention these. Raphael Brunswick will talk later a bit more about our work for a younger audience, younger viewers. For us, it's extremely important, and we work very hard on this, very seriously. I think he's able to present this much better than I can. We have 3 world premieres for young viewers. Akiko, The Flying Monkey from Veit Helmer, Block 5 from Clement Dvornik from Slovenia, and Blue Sky Joe from Patrice Sauvé from Canada. Then, of course, we shouldn't forget this. This is an important part of the festival. We've got Panorama Suisse, Swiss Panorama, and Semaine de la Critique, the Critiques Week. I see Till Brockman, the head of Semaine de la Critique, the best documentary film. Can I mention one film from your section? Simon Baumer's new film, Der Erben, a very interesting film, and I hope that all of you can discover this film. Simon had image problem, and this new film is a further reflection about Switzerland, fathers, sons, grandchildren. So that's all we wanted to say with regard to the categories for today. What we wanted to say about the films. You have your press kit, and of course there will be time for questions at the end of the press conference. But we're not quite through. We have the special awards, some very interesting guests. I just wanted to say something first. I don't want to try the patience of our guests, but now, at a time when we're talking a lot about artificial intelligence, the festival in Locarno is really focused on film. More than 40 films recorded on 5, 16 and 35 millimeters. We're really defending analog film, and the whole of the Piazza Grande part will be in 35 millimeters. We're a film festival in the digital film age. Awardees. Who should we start with? We already announced some. We'll start with Shah Rukh Khan. He's more than a star. He's maybe the greatest Indian actor who has ever existed, the biggest star worldwide. Then we have Jane Campion, who we already announced, Stacey Sher, producer of Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh. She'll receive the Rizzonico Award. Then the
Genau.
Locarno
Wenn wir
Kids
dann
Award
weitermachen
for
mit der
Claude
nächsten
Barras. Now, the next slide. This gentleman with the glasses. Maybe you don't recognize his face, but he produced the most famous sounds in the film world. He is alone responsible for Darth Vader's heavy breathing. He is the E.T. phone home guy, the laser swords, the lightsabers from Star Wars. He did all that. He got Oscars for Indiana Jones and E.T. and Ben Burt. We met with him together with Marcus Dufner, and we thought, yeah, an honorary prize for Ben Burt. And we thought it's the first Vision Award for a sound engineer, a sound editor. So I think it's very important. And it's interesting to see that a man that has shaped the imagination of so many generations, that he has such a regular face. Nobody actually recognizes him. And then we have Irene Jacob, legendary actress of Krzysztof Kieslowski, and also the new film from Adipan, Amos Kitai. Guillaume Canet, Mélie Laurent, the stars of Le Déluge. The 77th Locarno Film Festival, 7th to the 17th of August, but before that, we'll be able to see something. We mentioned Ben Burt. There he is on Piazza Grande with the Italian version, with the K digital improvements by Steven Spielberg. E.T. for our younger viewers, for our families. That's the pre-festival. Then our cooperation with the OSI, the Italian Switzerland Orchestra, and the world premiere of Fiore Mio, a documentary film from Paolo Cognetti, the Italian bestseller writer, the Otto Montagna, on the Piazza as a world premiere. 4th of August, E.T., 6th, Fiore Mio, and then the first film to be shown with the Italian Swiss Orchestra. So that was the program in more detail. So what do you think? Everything okay? Should we discuss it? Well, don't ever say that it was boring. It was a list. We wanted to highlight what films were going to be shown. We can't tell you the stories yet, though. So now I would like to move to my next guest, in quote marks, Raphael Brunswig, Managing Director. Please come up to the stage. Thank you. Thank you all.
Ich weiß nicht, was Sie davon halten, aber ich fand es eine sehr kurzweilige Liste.
Gut, das Wort gefällt mir. Also wir haben jetzt das Festivalprogramm und die Filme vorgestellt. Das Festival ist aber auch ein Ort, an dem man kreiert, an dem man lernt, diskutiert. Es gibt eine ganz große Welt hinter der Leinwand und während dem Festival. Wollen wir über das ein bisschen sprechen?
Das ist tatsächlich so. Also das
Well,
Festival ist ja sehr stark gewachsen in
the
den letzten
festival
Jahren und
has
also Sie haben das
grown a
auch gesehen,
lot
also
in
im
recent
Zentrum
years,
sind
and you've
weiterhin
seen
diese mehr
that
als 200 Postkarten, die auf
you have
interessante
the
Art und
more than
Weise
200
uns über das
postcards
Menschsein in
at
dieser
the
Zeit
center,
erzählen und das
which
Ziel,
tell
mit dem
us a
wir
lot about
die verschiedenen
people
Säulen des Festivals
in the
entwickelt
contemporary
haben oder
world. And
weiterentwickelt
we've
haben in den letzten
developed
Jahren, ist
different
wirklich
pillars
sicherzustellen, dass
of the
das, was
festival
Jonah jetzt
in
erzählt
recent
hat, für so
years in
viele
order to
Menschen wie möglich
secure
weiterhin relevant ist.
what
Und
Jonah was saying, to
Cinema
make
for
sure the
All, das
festival
ist
is as
der
relevant for
Kern
as
des
many people as
Festivals, also
possible.
das
Cinema for All
Filmfestival, das
is
ist ganz
the
klar. Aber wir haben
core
auch
of the festival.
eine starke Säule, die
That's
sich für die
clear. We
Professionals
also have a very
widmet,
strong
der
pillar
Filmindustrie. Und da haben wir über 1500
for
Trainers
professionals with the film
repräsentiert und
industry,
dann noch weitere Professionals
over
und Gäste
1,500
aus
accredited
der
from
Presse.
the
Und
industry and
hier hat sich
professionals
Locarno
from
wirklich
the
zu einem sehr
press.
wichtigen
Locarno has become
Sommer-Gathering
a
entwickelt,
very
wahrscheinlich das
important
wichtigste,
summer gathering,
der
maybe
wichtigste
the most
Treffpunkt nach Cannes. Und wir
important
arbeiten da wirklich im Sinne von
meeting after
Quality over
Cannes.
Quantity
And we
mit
really
wichtigen
emphasize
Aktivitäten,
quality
Think
over
Tanks, wo es darüber geht, zu
quantity
reflektieren,
with the
wie es überhaupt
think
in der
tank
Filmlandschaft weitergeht. Zum Beispiel
activity,
Step-In dieses Jahr wird
looking
das
at
Thema von
what the
der
future
AI
holds.
mit sehr wichtigen
There's the
Referenten
AI
diskutieren, debattieren,
subject
vom
that's going to
Standpunkt
be
der IP, aber
discussed
auch der
with
Produktion,
experts
der Distribution und
from
so
the
weiter.
point of view
Und
of
es ist ganz selbstverständlich,
production,
dass desto stärker
distribution,
diese
and of
Aktivität ist, desto
course,
einfacher ist es dann auch
the
wieder,
stronger
dass
this activity
Jonah Filme
is,
nach Locarno einladen kann, auch weil wir
then
sehr
the
viele
easier it is to
Verkäufer
invite
und Distributoren
films to Locarno
nach Locarno
for
einladen.
Jonah,
Dann haben wir die zwei neueren Pillars, die
because you
sogenannte
have all
Locarno
these
Factory, das ist
participants.
ein
Then
Creative Hub, also
the new
da geht
pillars,
es nicht mehr
Locarno
nur um
Factory, it's a
Film, da
creative
geht
hub.
es vor
It's
allem
not
um
just
das
about film, it's
Basecamp-Projekt,
above
das ist eine
all about the
Künstlerresidenz für
base
200
camp,
Jugendliche, die gibt
the
es
artist
mittlerweile seit einigen
residency
Jahren,
for
dieses Jahr neu
200
in Muralto. Und da geht es
youth
wirklich darum,
in
Verbindungen
Moralto.
herzustellen mit jungen
The idea is
Kreativen,
to establish
die nicht nur
links with
vom Programm
young
passiv
creators
profitieren und darüber diskutieren,
who don't
sondern
just
die auch
benefit from the program in a
gestalterisch
passive
aktiv
manner and
sein
discuss
können
it,
im
but they
Festival.
can
Und das ist auch
actually
ein
shape
Projekt, das
things,
sich
be
sehr stark
active in the
etabliert hat.
festival.
Und dieses Projekt
It's
zusammen mit der letzten
an
Säule
important
Locarno
project,
Edu, also
and
die
together with
Aktivitäten
the Locarno
für
Edu, the
Jugendliche,
last
für
pillar,
Familien, für
the
Kinder und das sind nicht nur
activities for
Screenings, das
youth,
sind auch
families
sehr
and
viele
children.
Workshops,
It's
wie
not just
entsteht ein Film
screenings,
überhaupt,
but workshops, how a film
wie kann man
comes about,
Bewegbilder oder die sogenannte
how
Media Literacy vom
can
Standpunkt eines
you
Filmfestivals den
establish
Jugendlichen
media literacy
vermitteln.
and convey
Ja,
this
diese
to
Aktivitäten haben uns
young people?
ermöglicht,
These
das
activities have allowed
Publikumsdurchschnittsalter
us
in den letzten Jahren,
to
also das Publikum immer weiter zu regenerieren. Also wir haben jedes Jahr ein
regenerate
Fünftel
our audience in recent
neue
years.
Personen, die noch nicht zum
Over a
Stammpublikum
fifth
gehört
of
haben.
the
Und das ist
people
ganz klar
are new. They're
ein
not part
wichtiger
of the
Pfeiler
regular
für
crowds.
unsere Zukunft, um
It's
sicherzustellen,
very
dass auch in
important
diesen
in order
schwierigen
to
Zeiten,
secure
vor
our
allem für
future
das Kino auf den
in
großen
such difficult
Leinwanden, ein
times.
Filmfestival wie Locarno
Such
weiterhin
difficult
relevant
times
Es,
for
es ist ja auch sehr interessant, weil
cinema.
auch das
So
Locarno Film
it's an
Festival
important
passt sich
component
an,
of Locarno.
verwandelt sich und wird auch
Locarno
größer, weil auch
is
heutzutage darf
adapting.
man nicht
It's
nur eine
changing.
Sache sein. Da
You
kommt
just
noch
can't be
vieles
one
dazu.
thing, I think.
Schön wäre es,
It
man
involves
könnte
many
es, aber
different
das könnten wir uns
components.
vielleicht nicht
Well, it'd be
leisten. Und
lovely if you
deshalb
could just be one
Ja.
ist
thing, but
das,
we can't afford
ja,
to.
und vor allem ist auch eine ganz andere Ausgangslage, wenn man ein
And
großes Festival in einer kleinen
if
Stadt
you
organisiert. Da
have
muss
a
man
great festival in a
sicherstellen, dass das
small
für so viele Leute wie
town, then
möglich
you have to
attraktiv
ensure
ist
that
und
it's
dass
attractive
man
as
sich
possible
dann
for as many people
auch
as possible,
ein bisschen im guten
and
Sinn verlieren kann in diesem mastodontischen
that
Programm, also über 200 Filme.
you
Also im besten
can
Fall
get
kann man
lost,
5
as it
Filme pro Tag
were,
anschauen. Also
completely
man
immersed
kann nie alles
in
sehen,
this
aber
huge
ja, das
program.
ist
You can watch maybe
zentral
5 films a day.
definitiv.
You can't see
Und dann
everything, but yes,
kommt
it's
es
really
natürlich zu einem
important.
wichtigen Thema.
And
Natürlich das
then
Geld, weil
a
das
very
alles
important
kostet
subject,
Geld.
Genau.
money.
Wie sieht
It
es
all
aus
costs
mit dem
something. What's the situation
Fondsmodell von Locarno?
Ja,
with
eben
the
ohne
funding
Geld
model
wäre
for
das
Locarno?
alles nur Träume, das ist
Well,
ganz
it
klar.
would just be a dream without
Ja,
money,
die
that's obvious.
Situation der Finanzierung
The
von jeder
situation of
Kulturinstitution ist
funding
definitiv nicht einfach.
for every
Aber
cultural
wie die
institution
Präsidentin
is
Meyerhofer
not
es gesagt
easy.
hat,
But
wir sind
as
trotz
our
allem in
president,
einer
Meyer
starken
Hoffman,
Position.
said,
Also wir haben ein
we're
absolut
nevertheless in a
gutes
strong
Modell
position. We
zwischen
have a very balanced
öffentlichen
model
Geldern, privaten
between
Geldern
public
und was wir
funding,
selbst
private
einnehmen.
funding,
Und ich
and
beginne
what
vielleicht
we generate
beim
ourselves.
Self-Financing, also bei dem, was wir
I'll start
einnehmen.
with the
Da sind wir
self-financing.
zuversichtlich, dass wir ab diesem Jahr wieder
We
mindestens so
think
weit sind,
that
wie
as
wir
of
vor
this year,
Covid waren. Das ging
we'll
wirklich,
be
das
as
war
good as we
ein
were
längerer
before
Prozess,
COVID, at
aber
least.
das
It's been a
finden wir
long
an, dass
process,
ein Teil, der
but we've
zumindest in
really
Locarno nicht viel
worked hard on
wachsen
this.
kann. Dann haben wir die
And
öffentlichen
of
Gelder und
course,
hier haben wir die
this is a share which
Staatspartner,
can't
also
grow
die
that much
Deckentwicklung, dann auch das
in
Bundesamt für
Locarno.
Kultur, der Kanton Tessin, die lokalen
No.
Gemeinden. Und das ist
The public
sehr viel
funding,
Geld, aber das ist auch unter Druck. Also wir wissen es
the
alle, wir erleben es
support from the
allgemein.
local authorities.
Es wird nicht einfach sein und da wird in den nächsten Jahren
It's
sehr
not
wahrscheinlich nicht mehr
easy,
Geld
as we
kommen.
know,
Das
and we're
heißt,
probably
wo
not going
wir
to get
wachsen
more
müssen, ist
from that. So
bei
where we
den
have to
privaten
grow
Partnern. Die Präsidentin hat
is
es vorhin
with our
gesagt, mehr
private
als
partners.
30
The president
Ideen
said this
pro
before.
Minute oder pro Sekunde, ich weiß nicht
30
mehr.
ideas per
Und
second or per
das
minute, I
heißt,
don't
dass
remember.
man ganz konkret anhand
So,
von
in quite concrete
unseren Prioritäten, anhand von
terms,
dem, was wir als wichtig und als relevant empfinden, sehr starke Verhältnisse mit unseren privaten Partnern
we need
aufbauen.
to
Nicht
establish
nur
a
mit den
very
Hauptpartnern UBS Mobiliar,
solid
Swisscom
relationship
und Swatch, aber auch
with our
mit
partners,
vielen
US
mehr.
Swisscom,
Und
Swatch,
hier eigentlich in einer stabilen
but
Situation.
also
Also
with many
die Partner,
others.
die wir schon haben, da sind die Verhältnisse stark. Aber es ist
Thanks
ganz
to
klar,
our
wir müssen
focus, we have a very strong
weitere
relationship,
Partner
but we
akquirieren, um
need
dieses Modell
to
dass dieses Modell
acquire
weiterhin
more
tragbar ist.
partners
Das
in
ist auch
order to
die Arbeit, die wir am Tätigen sind, wo das Ziel
continue
ganz klar ist, dass wir auch
strengthening this
mehr
model.
internationale Partner nach Locarno
That means we need more
Gut, ich weiß
international
nicht, ob
partners with
du
us in
noch
Locarno.
etwas sagen möchtest oder sollen wir mal mit den
I don't know
Q&A
if you want to
anfangen?
say
Ich
anything
denke, wir
else,
Okay,
or
dann
shall we move to
würde
the
ich
Q&A?
nochmals bitte
Okay,
unsere
then
Präsidentin auf die Bühne bitten.
I will ask our president to come up
Dann
to the
können wir
stage once
anfangen.
again,
Bitte
and
schön.
we can begin.
Danke, scusate, scusate.
Thank you.
Allora,
Apologies.
wenn ihr euch ein bisschen...
So, if
Danke.
you could just slide up a
Okay,
bit.
ja, Fragen,
Thank
Q&A.
you.
Wir haben Fiorenza
The
und Olli mit dem
Q&A.
Mikrofon. Wenn Sie Fragen
Fiorenza
haben,
and Ollie
einfach
have a microphone if you have any
Hand
questions.
auf und wenn wir euch bitte
Please just
vorstellen.
raise your
Gut.
hand and please just introduce
Haben wir
yourselves.
Fragen oder keine Fragen?
Any questions or no
Das haben wir
questions?
natürlich in Zürich nicht so erwartet.
We hadn't
Doch, da ist
expected that in
jemand,
Zurich.
der aufs
Okay, there is
Mikrofon
someone.
warten. Fiorenza.
Just
Ich
wait
habe
for
das
the mic.
Mikrofon auch schon.
Florence.
Ah,
I
Eine-
already have a microphone.
Simon Meyer von Watson, eine Frage für
Meyer
Meyer
von
Hoffmann.
Watson.
Was mussten
Für
Sie
Meyer
tun,
Hoffmann,
dass Annie
what
Leibowitz
do you
das neue
have to
Plakat gestaltet
do?
hat?
What did you have to do to get
Dass
Annie Leibovitz
Annie
to produce
Leibowitz das
the
neue
new
Plakat
poster?
gestaltet
What
hat?
did you have to
Ja, also
do to get Annie Leibovitz to
wir haben
produce the
gedacht,
new
es könnte
poster?
interessant sein, mit
Well,
Künstlern
we
in
thought
der
it would
Zukunft
be
über
interesting
Plakate zu
to
reden.
work
Und
with
im Prinzip war das
artists in the
einer der
future and
einzige
discuss
Orte, wo
posters
ich
with them.
mir
And this was
erlaubt
the
habe, mich
only
einzumischen sozusagen, sonst nur im Gespräch
place where
mit
I
den zwei Direktoren.
interfered, as it were. Otherwise,
Annie Leibowitz
I always
ist eine
left it to the others.
Trendsetterin.
Annie Leibovitz is a
Sie
trendsetter.
hat, ich wollte irgendwie etwas mehr Eleganz
I
reinbringen in den
wanted
Poster.
some more
Ich
elegance
finde es
in the poster.
interessant,
I think
dass
it's
der
interesting.
Leopard und die gelbe Farbe
It's
eine
interesting
große Rolle
with the
spielt. Ich finde
leopard
es
and the
aber auch
yellow
interessant,
color.
dass man
They
über
play a major role, but
Freiheit,
also
Independent
interesting
Cinema,
that you've
über
got
die
freedom,
Landschaft
independent cinema,
im
the
Tessin
landscape
und über
in Ticino,
was bedeutet diese
and
Panthère, Leopard.
the meaning
Und
of
ich
this
glaube, es
leopard.
bedeutet eben diese Freiheit, die ich
What does it
wirklich
mean? I
unterstützen
think it
wollte.
means
Und
freedom
nicht
that I really wanted
diese
to support,
Image vom
and not the
Racing
image
Car
of
oder
a racing
es hat
car.
irgendeine, und wenn ich das sagen darf, es hat irgendwen
And
wie
if I may,
eine Sache wie, das für mich als Frau fühle ich mich ein wenig attackiert
well,
mit einer
as a woman,
Panthère.
I feel
Auf Französisch ist es
a
eine
bit
Panthère,
under attack
die da einfach aufgetischt wird
from
auf einem Teller.
a leopard or a
Ich weiß
panther
nicht,
which
ob
is
Ihnen
just
das
served up on a plate.
etwas zusagt, aber ich bin viel lieber mit
I don't know
inspiriert
if you get
mit
this,
dem Tier und die in
but
der Landschaft sich da bewegt und
I like this idea of the animal
im
in
Kontakt
this
ist
landscape
mit der Realität. Der Himmel,
and
den
the
die Annie
contact
gemacht
with
hat,
reality.
ist
The
ein
sky
Himmel, der sich
that
bewegt.
Annie
Zeigt uns, dass die Welt
made,
nicht
it
nicht
moves.
unbedingt immer
It
schön
shows
ist.
us
Es ist
that the
eine
world is not
heutige
always
Aussage, die
a
mich
nice
sehr
place.
interessiert.
It's contemporary expression, a statement which I find very interesting, and I think we can support in Locarno. I called Annie, as you saw in the press, and I asked if she'd be interested in doing this, and she gave me her time. And I'd really like to thank her very much for that. Thank you. Anybody else with a question? It's important for the streaming. And also, maybe something about the members of the jury? The members of the jury for the international competition. Could you say something about that? We will make an announcement a bit later down the line. We didn't want to announce those members now. There are further announcements to come. Thank you. So you just have to be a bit patient. Thank you.
Ja, da ist natürlich große Neugier für die Sachen, die wir nicht
Well,
gesagt haben, die einzigen.
a lot of curiosity for the things that we didn't say, of course.
Da ist noch eine Frage.
Any more curious people? Another question?
Eine Frage an Jonah.
A question
Krebs
for
von
Jonah.
Zeitung.
Gary Krebs
Warum keine Filme aus
from
Israel? Gab es keine oder ist das ein
Why no
politisches
film from
Statement? Ich habe
Israel?
gesehen,
Was
es hat
there none,
zwei,
or
die
is it a
sind in
political
den
statement?
kompetitiven
I
Sektionen,
saw
zwei
that
von Katar
there were
co-produziert
two
und einer
from
aus Libanon.
Qatar,
War das
one
auch also wegen
co-produced by Qatar
Schwierigkeiten,
and one
dass
from
man die
Lebanon.
dann nicht bekommen
In
hätte? Oder
the main competition, was there a problem there? No, it wasn't an issue. We watched all of the films. We also received films from Israel, and we discussed all of them. But we just saw these films as works in themselves. The films from Qatar, they're co-productions. Qatar, for many years, has been at the forefront of renewal, production in the Near East, particularly with the Doha Film Institute, and they have helped many artists in many countries. They've helped them get going, so it's really not an issue.
Niemand mehr?
No one else?
Pressekonferenz beenden.
Can we now conclude this press conference?
Ja,
Do you all agree?
Okay.
Yes? Okay.
Also, dann,
We can wrap it up.
gehe ich mal wieder hierher. Danke vielmals an alle euch,
Thank
dass ihr hier
you
wart.
very
Ich hoffe,
much
es war interessant.
for
Ich hoffe, ihr
attending,
habt,
all of you. I hope it
alles
was
erfahren,
interesting.
was ihr
I
erfahren
hope
wollt.
that you've
Danke vielmals an
found out
euch,
everything
an,
you wanted to.
Raphael Brunswig, an
Thank
Jonah
you,
Nazzaro,
Raphael
Maya
Brunswig,
Hoffmann.
Jonah Nazzaro, Maya
Kommt
Hoffmann.
gut nach Hause und wir sehen uns in Locarno.
A safe trip
7.
home, and we'll
August.
see you
Danke
in
vielmals.
Locarno on the 7th of August. Thank you very much.